Welcome back to the Gear for Music podcast. Today I am joined by a riff master extreme who is Hamish from the band Vukovi. How you doing?
How do you say that without not laughing? That's ridiculous. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, thanks for being here. If you want to check out the other videos we've done with Hamish, check the links in the description and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you for being here today. Can you tell me just like a little bit about, for those people at home who might not know, just tell us about the band, how you guys got started, and kind of what Vukovi is like all about?
Sure. Yeah. Oh my God. The deeper questions, like what's the meaning of the band? It's like, oh my God. Yeah. So Vukovi has been a band for like just over 10 years now, which is mental.
It's a long time, yeah.
Yeah, long time, man. Yeah, long time. And it started in uni.
I was going to say, so how old were you when that started?
Oh, man, I mean, I think I was 20, 21. I'm old as fuck. Yeah, so I was in uni and like a friend of mine had started another band and they asked me to come play guitar. So Janine, our singer, wasn't in the band at the time.
Okay.
And I joined just as an extra guitarist. We did a couple of gigs and we were just like, oh, we kind of want to try another singer. Somehow I had input in that after a couple of gigs. Yeah. No idea how that happened. And Janine was literally the second person that we auditioned for the band because our drummer knew her, and like Janine's just like super talented. She brought a massive Casio keyboard to our first rehearsal and was like playing the chords of the songs, and it was like, all right, you know what you're doing. Yeah. And it was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, you're not just a singer, you know like exactly what's going on.
She's a musician, do you know what I mean? She's super talented, man. So like honestly, it was one of those lucky ones where first practice with her, it was like, this is it, you know, let's go.
So was it Vukovi when you said you first joined? Was it Vukovi then as well?
No, it was a band called Wolves.
Okay.
And that's where like the name thing that's where that comes from, is like, we were like, right, we should change the name, we should update the name. Our bass player went away and Google translated Wolves.
Oh yeah.
And Vukovi was Serbian for wolves.
Oh, okay. I was just literally about to ask, like, what does Vukovi even mean?
Yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah. I really wish I could lie and make up a cool lie about what, but it's not. Yeah, he Google translated it and came to rehearsal and he was like, so Google translated Wolves and I got Vukovi in Serbian, and we were just like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah,
that's super cool.
It's a cool name.
And it just looks good. It's small, looks good on a poster.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and it's really hard to get like a band name that's just one word that no one else has ever used before.
It's a fucking nightmare.
It's
nigh on impossible.
Yeah. Like it's just impossible. Like you go on Spotify and you like search this word, you're like, oh, it's gonna be a great band name.
Yep.
Search it and there's like 5 other bands. You're like, all right, we can't use that one then.
Man, I remember like in school, you know, doing like name generator things for bands, you know, all that kind of stuff. So honestly, the name was the easiest part about our band, because instantly we're all just like, oh yeah, that's actually really cool. So thank you, Jason, our old bass player. And yeah, that just stuck, man, ever since.
So then from after that, obviously when Janine joined and everything.
Yeah.
So at the moment, obviously it's just you two.
Sure.
But there was other people in the band then as well?
Yeah, we had an OG drummer who's also called Martin. Our new drummer's called Martin. And after a couple of years, we got in a friend of mine from way back in the day called Colin, who's a great drummer, and he played with us for a couple of years. And then, man, you know what it's like? It's hard if you do a band for years and years and years and you don't make a lot of progress.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's just like, that's enough. They need to move on. And Jason and Colin kind of came to that realization about the same time, maybe like 2 months apart. So they kind of left quite similar times, and as much as like that was hard, I kind of seen it coming. I think me and Janine are just like, we are so deep in this that even if it fell apart, we would still somehow find a way to keep it going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Jason, our bass player, left, then Colin left, and Colin, you know, thankfully had already sort of like thought about a drummer to replace him.
Okay, that's good.
So that is now Martin Johnson, who plays with us now, who's our session drummer. And Colin just phoned him, was like, look man, I'm going to leave the band. Would you be up for playing for Vukovi? And he was like, yeah, fuck yeah. And he's been our drummer for 5 years now, I think. And we love him. He's the funniest person you'll ever meet. You should really be interviewing him. His chat's way better than me.
Well, I mean, when you're saying obviously it's just down to you two now, I guess. Yeah. So songwriting wise, how does that usually play out for you?
We honestly, man, we just write GarageBand or Logic demos. We send them to each other. Yeah. Goes back and forth, and then that's the song. Yeah. And I think me and Jeannie have been doing it. We've been doing it so long together now that we've developed like quite efficient ways of writing together. Do you know what I mean? And it's only 2 of us, man, as well. And it's like, I'm so used to that now that I get fear of writing with other people. Yeah, it kind of gives me the fear a wee bit, just because I know how we work, you know, and we know what each of us are good at. Yeah, we know our roles. You know, I mean, I don't write lyrics, for example. Yeah. If Gene wanted input, of course I'd help. But you know, we know what we're good at, and it works really well. So yeah, when too many other people get involved, I'm like, oh, do you know what I mean?
So obviously you said you don't do any lyrics or anything. Does Janine get involved with any of like the music side of it as well?
Of course, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, a demo can come from me where it's like instrumentation of a song, maybe a rough structure, or it could be more complete. You know, like and same from Janine. She might send me an idea where she's actually put like a bass progression. She might put a structure. She's put a rough idea of like tempo, whatever. Like, I mean, these are all things that like you can change as you go. And we just literally send it back and forth until we're happy. You know what I mean? And that's Creep Pete, the new single. Not to promote it.
Big plug.
It's a good example of that. I just got the new baritone guitar from G4M, baby, and tuned it down, had an idea for a riff, wrote the tune, sent it to Janine, fully structured, and Janine sent back some actually really fucking good ideas for the verses. So we changed that, sent it back, and Janine's so quick at doing like vocal stuff, it's crazy. Like, and it's one area that I never really worry about. She's so like good at like melody and big choruses. So good at it. She gets it completely. And she's doing it for ages, but she's amazing at it. Sent it back and that was it. Creep Pete was done like that. It was crazy. Martin, our drummer, is like, he's amazing at coming up with like fills that as a guitarist I do not have the knowledge for.
Are you programming the drums in beforehand?
I am, but it's something that we actually, I'm glad you asked that, 'cause it's something that we had a big discussion about recently where we kind of want to reverse it and have him a bit more involved. Because guitarists, unless you really know drums, you don't really know drums. Do you know? I don't.
I've written so many drum parts that you need like 6 legs to play.
That's what Martin said. He was like, "You're sending me stuff that's impossible." And I was like,
"Yeah, but don't worry about it. You're thinking too literally. You gotta just listen to it and just make it sound the same."
Exactly. And in the studio, you can do anything, right? But we kind of want to make it a bit more real again in that regard. Not so much that you can tell that was written by a bloody guitarist. Do you know what I mean? So that's something we're definitely going to do moving forward.
That makes sense.
Sure.
So when you're writing stuff at home, what kind of stuff are you using? Like, what's your gear that you've got set up?
Oh, it's so basic. It's literally my MacBook with a Focusrite Scarlett Solo, just a tiny one. That's it. I don't even have any like nice plugins. I literally just use the built-in stuff in the DAW, which is Logic Pro.
So you're not even using like STL Tone Hub or like...
I should be.
Or like Neural DSP stuff.
Should be. I mean, we use Neural DSP in the studio. Because their stuff is amazing. We've been using the Gojira one and the Tom Morello one, which are amazing. We actually tracked all of the last record and everything that you'll hear from here on up so far on those two. Mainly the Gojira one, just because they sound so good.
They do sound great.
They're just like, why not?
But when you're at home, you're just using Logic.
Dude, I just use... I make my own tones and, you know, I build it out a wee bit and, like, I've gotten better. You know, I am not an engineer by any means. Do you know what I mean? I'm a songwriter, guitarist.
You can do enough to get by with what you need.
Exactly. I can produce a demo between me and Janine to send to our actual producer.
Who's then going to make it sound.
Who then makes it sound radio worthy, you know what I mean? Or whatever, you know what I mean? That's something that I'm trying to improve on every time we write music. You know, I'm always learning. You know, I do not think I deserve like credit for a lot of stuff because I'm learning as I go. And it's like, someone was talking about this the other day as well, even ideas in music, like sometimes it's like folk were like, how did you write that? And it's like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know. I don't think I deserve any credit for that. It's come from some ethereal beast.
I mean? I've done that before where I've gone through like an old demo of mine. I've listened back to it and I'm like, I didn't write this. Like who wrote this? It wasn't me.
Exactly.
So I mean, saying that about obviously the things that you use at home, what about on stage? So obviously I know that you use your JCM 800 and orange amps and stuff on stage. In this day and age, a lot of guitarists these days are using things like Kempers and Neural DSP. What made you stick to kind of like tube stuff?
Oh man. So I think, because I do think about this all the time, and the Kemper thing, the quad cortex, all that is super tempting, super expensive, because I already own all my gear, right? Do you know what I mean? So I've been tempted by it. If it wasn't so expensive, I may have tried it by now. A lot of my friends that have it are like, you would love it. Do you know what I mean?
Like, no, I've got my JCM 800.
I've got my 800, which I love, and they're like, you can model it for fucking free. You know what I mean? But I don't know, like, I'm not saying one day I wouldn't do it, especially if we were touring abroad more, where you're flying.
I guess that's where people find it most
efficient.
Useful. Yeah, is like I don't have to carry a big 2-bed.
Exactly.
Because those big they weigh so much.
So heavy, man, and like flying a lot of gear is not cheap either.
Yeah.
You know, it's really expensive, and the more gear you have, the more at risk you are to losing stuff as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a serious consideration when you're touring around the world.
I guess the other thing is with like Kempers, you can always have your profiles on a stick and just like go somewhere, hire it.
I know.
Put your profiles in.
I know.
Go.
I know. You're
I'm selling it to you.
Like,
I'm selling it to you.
I totally get it.
I mean, I'm a bit biased. I have a Kemper myself, so
yeah,
that's why I like it. But I mean, that being said, there is something about using tube amps, things like JCM 100% and stuff like that. That I think if I had like just ridiculous amounts of money and loads of space, I would have like a rack full of tube
real
amps
stuff.
And like all the real stuff, and just use like one of those like load boxes.
Yes, I've been tempted to get one of them, by the way.
Very good.
But that's the thing. It's like, let's take this back, because I feel like I've just been like, oh, I really wish I had Kemper. Like the reason I actually have like the Marshall stuff is again because of my my Lord and Savior Tom Rello. You know what I mean? Like
that's what he uses.
He used an 800. Do you know what I mean? So when I was a wee guy and couldn't afford one, I used to always look up to that amp and be like, oh, I really wish I could get one. So my first amp I ever got, when I had a wee bit of money, was a Line 6 Spider 3, which is like the classic meme amp, because it's got insane setting on it.
The insane
right?
setting.
The only setting anyone used on that amp.
It's the only one you need.
Yeah.
You don't need anything else apart from insane.
So I just used that for everything. But I was like, why does this not sound like what like I hear Tom Rello play? You know, I was really into like John Petrucci and that when I was younger, like prog guys, and you know, they used Mesa Boogie amps. Like really, well, maybe not now. I don't even know if they did back then, to be fair, but it looked like they used Mesa Boogies.
Probably.
Tom Rello for sure used valve amps, and the insane setting could never sound like that.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, why does it not sound like that? I can't figure it out. And eventually I started working in a guitar shop called Sound Control, and they had a JCM 2000 on sale for half price second hand. And I was like, oh, can I try that? Like just during my shift one day. As soon as I played it, I was like, that's the sound.
Yeah, that's
it's valves
sound.
cranked.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. So bought that straight away. Completely fell in love with having a valve amp. Just how it reacts to your playing. How if you crank it, it sounds different. You know, all these kind of things. Even how pedals sound through it. It sounds amazing. I think it sounds amazing. Like the tails and all that. So I had a 2000 for years, and I only just got into using the 800s 2 years ago, because I actually now sort of work with Marshall as well. And after lockdown, went in to see the Marshall guys, met them. We did like a wee session, and we've been basically using one of their 800s, which I now own. Ever since. So like 2 years ago I got it, and honestly our sound guy is just like, the 800 is so much better than the 2000. It's not even fair. So the 800 is the guy now.
The one you use all
it's
the time.
the guy, man. And he's right. It took me a while to sort of be like, oh yeah, you're totally right, but he is totally right. It's amazing. I don't know what it is. It just cuts through better.
It's got more of a punch, a little bit more.
He says that. I trust him a lot.
But go into like more on stage stuff. I've seen you guys play before on stage and things, and you're someone that kind of moves about quite a bit, but you're locked to the so you're using
I see where you're going with this.
You know exactly where I'm going. You're locked to where you're standing, because obviously you've got your,
I have a 20-foot diameter.
You've just got your guitar pedal plugged in. I mean, wireless, is that something you're going to be using anytime soon?
Absolutely. So I've been using cables since the beginning. I never, honestly, the thing is, I never used to move that much, and it wasn't really till we lost members that I felt the need to fill up the stage more. 100%. I remember one of my friends saying that. He's like, oh, you got some responsibility here now. And I was right, you know. So after we came back after lockdown and that, I kind of put a bit more effort into that and really performing. So finally going to be using a Shure wireless, which I'm buzzing. I used today. It was class.
It was a beautiful GLXD plus 16. It's a little pedal one.
I'm glad you knew the numbers and stuff.
I know all the numbers.
It's you know, it sounded perfect.
I think that's the thing. You want a wireless system to be able to obviously almost replicate the tone of a cable. I don't really think there's that much different in between cable
I bet there's
tone.
not either.
I don't think there is. And obviously the latency is like so minimal that you can't tell.
I wouldn't add a clue today. I wouldn't. And the latency was the big thing that used to worry me. I was like, surely there's latency.
People always think that, but I think it's so tiny that your brain, like anyone's brain, just can't comprehend.
No, especially for live.
Yeah,
where you're not double tracking stuff or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's been so cool. I'm actually buzzing to walk on stage and not have to pick up my cable, plug it in, and unmute my tuner. I'm so excited.
You could just like walk on or play. You can play behind the stage if you wanted to.
Warm up. I think as well as like as we've started to play bigger stages and bigger festivals, there has been times where I've like sort of ran towards Martin and just an adrenaline moment, pulled my freaking cable out my boards because I've not looped it around my pedal board. Like that's never gonna happen again, which is cool. So yeah, really buzzing.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of a great microphone. This podcast is sponsored by Shure microphones. Do you want your podcast to sound this good? Well, then you should check out the iconic Shure microphones. They have these microphones like the SM7B, the SM58, the SM57. But wait, there's more. They also have in-ears, headphones, and wireless system. There's everything you could possibly think of for streamers, podcasters, and musicians. So check the link in the description so you can see the full range of Shure products from Gear4music. Back to the podcast. With Vukovi recently, obviously we mentioned you've released the new Creep Heat single, but then obviously you've also signed to Sharptone. How did all that kind of stuff come about? Is it just like natural progression of what you guys have already been doing and it's just like momentum?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, first of all, how does it feel to be on a label kind of like that, I guess?
Oh, it's sick. I mean, like...
They got so many amazing artists on that label.
They do, man, and it's like genuinely, I remember years and years ago when Don Broco signed to them, I remember being like, oh man, how do we get on a label like that with bands like that?
So I think that's the thing that's really important is if you want to be on a label that has similar bands and in the similar scene that you're in, because then you can always, you know, bounce off each other, and
it gives you, I hate to use the word resources, but it does open up that, you know, access to people, places. And you know, they're like a worldwide label as well. We've never really had that before. Yeah, it's a dream come true because their roster has only gotten better since then. I mean, Don Broco signed to them years ago. Now they have like, it's insane. You know what I mean?
Huge. Baby Metal are on it, right?
Are they?
Are they?
I don't know. Are you asking me or am I asking you?
I think I'm asking you.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, I know they've got like Love and they signed Boston Manor, you know.
Okay.
I mean, these are guys that we've got to know over the years and respect, and it's super cool, man. Yeah, and it's one of those things like 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't have believed it.
It's hard to think that obviously all the hard work that you're doing will eventually pay off.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep...
Sometimes it's hard to believe that when you're too in the thick of it. You just think it's never going to get to that point. Even a year and a half ago, I would have been like, oh, dream label probably won't happen. But I think after we put out the last record, Nula, did quite well. We raised the profile a bit, toured it a bit, did some good festival slots. I was just about to say, obviously you've played some pretty big festivals over the past couple of months and stuff. Obviously got a couple good ones.
Slam Dunk main stage and things like that.
I mean, the Sharptone discussion has been going on for a while. You know what it's like, man, these things take ages to get to signing the contract.
Totally.
So that had been going on for a while. We actually signed it backstage at Slam Dunk.
Oh, fair. Nice.
So it was a bit lore. We came off stage and our management have a tent backstage there, and we did the signing in there, and we poured like I can't remember what it was. It was not Buckfast, but it was something like Buckfast. Fucking pure pirate. It looked like a fucking pirate scroll. Do you know what I mean? But I was sort of like, is this void now? Do you know what I mean?
Just destroyed the contract.
We've just ruined our lives. So that was super cool, man. And like the guys at Sharptone are class. Like they're really cool. Absolutely love them. And I remember when we showed Sean, the guy that runs Sharptone in LA, we showed him Creep Heat. Well, actually, Nathan, who's the UK guy who actually signed us, we were in a boardroom with him and Sean, the guy runs Sharptone. And Nathan was like, oh, Sean, you've not heard Vukovi's new stuff. You know what I mean? So me and Gene were just like, oh my God, we need to sit in the room and listen to the guy that's giving us all this. Listen to it live. Terrifying, absolutely terrifying. So he put on Creep Heat, and luckily he loved it. You know what I mean? He was buzzing, and he was just like, let's put this out. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, that's good. You're a fucking class.
Like, that's exactly what you want.
That's what you want. Enthusiasm. You know what I mean?
Because then it gets you going as well, and it's like, all right, I'm excited to release more and do more, and like this is obviously the label that we need to be on. It
felt like, oh, this is correct. Because had he had another reaction, it would have been like, oh no. Do you know what I mean? So, we're very lucky. Very lucky.
The other thing I wanted to ask is, for all the kind of like bands and artists and guitarists and stuff out there, what is kind of 1 or 2 pieces of advice that you could give
in sort of getting going and
getting going? Getting going. Like how do you get a band from like you started off in uni to take off to a point where you are getting signed? Like what's a bit of advice you could give?
I mean, obviously it definitely varies on case to case, but for us it was persistence. You know, I mean, there's a lot of bands, especially when we started up in the Glasgow scene, that maybe didn't even get to the point of putting out an album, and they just like had maybe too many things they couldn't quite get over, and they give up, right? Because it's just so difficult, especially financially. Yeah. Especially if you have family or whatever as well. Do you know what I mean? We do not have any kids. Do you know what I mean? So it makes it much easier.
You're fine, yeah.
So for us, it was just keeping it going. But then it's sort of like, well, why did we keep it going? And I think like for me and Janine, we talk about this all the time, like the sense of purpose that it gives us. Yeah. Regardless of how big we get or how much money we make, the purpose it gives kind of makes everything worth it. Because if I didn't have this, I feel like a large part of my identity, or at least who I think I am, would be gone, and that's quite scary to me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I've done this, you know, I've done this since I was like late teenager to now, early 30s, and it's like this is my identity. This is like everything to me. Do you know what I mean?
You don't really know anything else.
I don't know anything else. I really don't. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's when you were talking about earlier on about I haven't had like a 9-5 in a while, and it's like I can't imagine getting up for a regular job, and I have so much fucking respect for people that do it, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't, genuinely, I wouldn't be able to do it.
It's hard, man.
I'm completely with you, man. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I worked in retail briefly, so I got a part-time idea of it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's like, it's such a part of me now and such a part of us, and I want to make sure I have a sense of purpose. But I was lucky because I didn't really have to find that. I found it very young. And it's something that I've watched a lot of people struggle with, is purpose. I think without purpose, people are very lost, obviously. Do you know what I mean? But I've been very fortunate to have that since a young age. So for that reason alone, that's why we've stuck at it, because it gives us so much, you know, rewards, you know. And we have managed to always push things a little bit. Shows, sales, whatever you want, whatever gives you that, whatever you need, we've always managed to push it enough that it's not dropped off and we've gone, how do we fix this? We've managed to keep pushing it, so therefore let's keep going. You know what I mean? Like, what else are we gonna do? Do you know what I mean?
So being, like I mentioned, persistent, totally. You just got to keep pushing. Keep pushing on.
Keep pushing.
So I mentioned at the start of the video, seeing as you are Riff Master 5000, what's something, a bit of advice that you could give to a guitarist to write better riffs?
So this is maybe not so much for writing, but more just how to like get comfortable playing. Is like, I used to practice with a metronome. Every day, constantly. Like I was the stereotype nerd in school where I would go on my lunch breaks to the music department, and I would sit with a metronome, having my packed lunch, and I would practice Dream Theater riffs. And I would start them slow, gradually increase it by 3-5 BPM per how comfortable I was, and I would keep doing that, and that's how I got. I mean, I honestly don't think I'm a good guitarist. I think I've got certain qualities that I like about my guitar playing, but when I was younger, I was better because I practiced all the time, and that's one thing I wish I kept up. So that's my advice, would be keep practicing. And I'm almost talking to myself here. Do you know what I mean? Just from experience, though. Do you know what I mean? It's like, try keep up if you can, but I know how hard it gets as you get older. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of guitarists feel like that, in the case of like, I don't think I'm a very good guitarist. But there's some things that I do that I like. Thing. And I guess that's what it's like when you're recording a song or something. As long as you do something that you like, then if you like it, hopefully somebody else is going to like it.
100%.
Because I'm similar. I don't see myself as a very good guitarist, but it is what it is. You got to just keep practicing, because I was the same. I would always sit down, practice to a metronome. I'd do my scales, do my chords, all that kind of stuff. And I think similarly, in the sense of, when I was at uni or younger, I was better than what I am now. Like there's sometimes now where like I'm playing something and I'm like, oh, it's in like B flat major, and I'm like, oh, where are the notes for this? I know where the notes for this are.
So I never learned scales. That's one thing. When in my head, I was like, do I really need to learn that? Do you know what I mean? To me, it's like, oh, if it sounds, I mean, I should have learned them probably, but like,
it helps.
I bet it does, but I just like go by like, let's see what works. But
I guess that most guitarists always go from that, like what feels good. It's
because I don't need to know the notes. We're not playing live, looking at sheet music.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like
you've practiced those songs, you've written those songs.
Yeah.
You know how they go.
Yeah, totally.
The one thing I always find is whenever I write a song and I try and show it to people, I just forget how the song goes.
Oh man,
and
I nearly felt that today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, what's next for Vukovi? Like, what you got, guys? What you got, guys?
We got guys.
What you got, guys? What have you guys got coming up?
So we're doing a lot of writing right now. Because of the Sharptone deal, we're gonna write another album.
Yeah,
we've done like 3 tracks so far. But I mean, you know, me and Janine try to talk about this a lot. Like, we're like, how like even the 3 songs we've just written for the new album, which is not Creep Pete, and we have another song as well, they have nothing to do with the new album.
Okay,
we want album 4 to be fresh.
Yeah,
even the 3 songs we have done for album 4, we're like, we can do better than that. Like, we were talking about this the other day, we're like, we can still do better than that.
Yeah, so
I think we're just gonna try and like spend the next 4 months of this year, I don't know when this comes out, the next couple of months of this year, just pushing it, man. Seeing what new ideas we can spark. How can we mix things up a wee bit?
Yeah,
we can't, I don't want the 4th album to be the same as the 3rd, you know.
Yeah.
Want to mix it up more. I think it's going to be much heavier. I think the production is going to be even more mental.
What's the kind of influences that you've got?
The baritone.
It's the baritone guitar, yeah.
Well, this is the thing, man. It's like, you know,
I guess you get a new instrument, you're like, I'm going to sit there and play this instrument, and I've got loads of new ideas because I've not played this kind of thing before.
It really does have more of an impact than you think, because everything else I've written on my Jazzmaster, and I have this weird tuning on my Jazzmaster, which is C-A-D-E-B-E.
Okay.
And that's what I've written most of the Vukovi guitar stuff in, most of it. Before it used to be like drop D, because Tom Riddle, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I kind of came up with my own tuning, and now on the baritone, it's like a whole new world, because I can just drop it so low and have so much fun with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of what the area that I want to push. And I really need to try and outdo myself on riffs as well. I have to.
It's hard, isn't it? Because you're like,
it's so hard.
It's like, you're always thinking like, have I written this riff before?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this riff's already in that song, or this riff's already in that song.
Yeah. I mean, you learn a lot from like touring, like what works live, and you know, we have quite a lot of breakdowns in our songs live and stuff like that. So more of that.
Yeah.
More moments to cause chaos in the crowd is a big thing for me and Janine, for sure. But
there was an interview with like Dave Grohl, and he was saying that one of the songs that they wrote for one of their albums, I can't remember what song it is. It's on Colors in the Shape. It's the one that's like dan 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 dan. Right. Anyway, the way he wrote it, he like jumped up and down. And he wrote it like that. Yeah. And he was like, if I'm jumping up and down and it makes me bounce, then it's going to make everyone else bounce. And then the first time they played it live, the whole crowd is just like waves.
Yeah, so he took the idea, translated it. Yeah. I actually seen, do you know the band Alpha Wolf?
Yes.
They were talking about that, and they were talking about what they have figured out as the perfect BPM to make a crowd bounce.
Okay.
And I believe it was 212 BPM, they said, which is fast, obviously.
Fast,
but if you half time it, it's not.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so they must obviously use that in a certain way. But I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I put it in my phone as a note to like write song at 212. Yeah. Because Alpha Wolf said so. Who are also on Sharptone, by the way, shout out. Very good band. Not seen them live, but very good band. So yeah, I don't know. I try and like, I do try and like listen to what other people think works. And, I mean, that's what bands and music becomes, is this an amalgamation of like loads of ideas and influences, right? You know what I mean? So
I mean, for something like Creep Pete, what is kind of that like artists or bands inspiration for you guys?
I think for that song, a combination of Spirit Box and Bad Omens were 2 big ones for us. Yeah. Janine loves Bad Omens.
Yeah, they're great.
I like them as well. But just the sounds of that album, the sounds of the guitars, like the simplicity and complexion of it. Is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like really tasteful,
super tasteful.
And like, if you were to, sometimes I find like if I was to like write that myself, I'd almost kind of like get bored, but it's because I haven't got the kind of know-how to take it to that next level that they do.
Exactly.
Almost. Do you know what I mean?
The simpleness of it is what's so good.
Yeah.
And the choice of sounds and selections and textures.
Yeah.
Is something that I really want us to carry on more. I mean, we did a lot of that in Nulla, but on the last album, Nulla, I think there was certain parts where we were experimenting. You know what I mean? And there's looking back, there's like, oh, I wish we'd done like this. You know what I mean? But this is our chance to do that now. So yeah, Spirit Box and Bad Omens were big influences. Love as well, just for the low tunings. Yeah. Riffs, you know, I kind of want to do a bit more of that, actually.
Wherever you can.
Yeah. So
all about the riffs.
Yeah, I'm excited to keep writing. Like I really am. It's you know, it's the area of the band we'll always be experimenting with. You know what I mean?
So I mean, before we head off, is there anything that you want to say to the lovely people of the Gear4music podcast.
Oh,
Obviously, you can plug whatever you want, or you can just say whatever you want to them.
That's a lot of pressure. Oh,
do you have a new single out by any chance that you want to talk about?
Yeah. What did we drink earlier on that you gave me the green stuff?
Oh, G Fuel.
So today, can I promote G Fuel?
I don't know. I don't think we can.
I tried G Fuel for the first time today. A lot of people have deals with G Fuel. So G Fuel, if you're listening,
give Vukovi a deal.
Yeah, I know more about games than music by far. So if you want to talk about games, we ain't leaving.
Yeah.
I'm here. So I tried G Fuel for the first time today. It was interesting.
It's all right. It's good.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah, it's a bit.
It's not going to replace coffee.
No,
but I can see why
people like it.
Yeah, I can see why people like it. And I was more thinking like I feel like shit on tour in the morning.
Yeah,
like
that definitely
so
helps.
like shit. So G Fuel could be the answer.
It probably is.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if we can get something going on here, I'd be super game. Come up with a flavour. I don't know what it'd be. Don't say haggis, I'll fucking kill you.
I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say like the riff flavour or something.
Riff flavour.
I don't know.
Crusty strings. Yeah, we do have a new single out. I hate promoting stuff. I fucking hate it. Go listen. Thank you.
Go listen to the new single Creep Heat. It's amazing. Full of amazing riffs and just beautiful melodies. Yeah, go check it out. But anyway, honestly, thank you so much for joining us on the
Thank you, Jordan
podcast. Yeah, if you like this video, make sure you hit subscribe, and obviously if you're listening on Spotify or whatever, thanks, and we'll see you later. Bye.